Good morning, good morning, good morning. You know, there's so much going on right now. We're having very turbulent times. Our freedom of speech, our freedom of press is being challenged and tested. We have had citizens shot, non-citizens shot, abducted. So my soul started appealing to the divine. What is this that we are viewing? How can I make sense of this? How can I have an inner response to this? I want to keep my vibrations high through this. So what can I do? I'm dealing with a sister who has Alzheimer's, dealing with a husband who's recovering from a stroke, and it put our life at an interesting sort of a standstill. We just had Holocaust Remembrance Day. My nephew died last year in the springtime. So our family is kind of getting used to this member being absent, but he's really present, but he's present in spirit. And so the universe heard my pleas and started responding. And the first thing was sending songs like that song. And it was such a process. Oh, I can't even begin to tell you. Sending messages, sending healing energy, sending kindness, and reminding me of the ways that we can do something without having our vibrations sink, without losing our hope, without sinking into despair, but to do things from a place of love, a place of strength. And so that got me to thinking, Gandhi. These kinds of things have happened where there's revolutions in a country. Got me to thinking about Martin Luther King. And you know, I had the privilege of meeting one of the founders of the Martin Luther King Parade just yesterday, Reverend Leon Kelly. What an extraordinary person. So Spirit's sending all these messages and then confirmations. Yes, I wanted you to hear that message. Yes, I wanted you to remember this. I wanted you to remember that. So I usually like to look at things from the macrocosm, and I looked for what's going on in the stars. So we just had Neptune go conjunct with Mars, and it creates sort of a deeply magnetic, dreamy, and illusory connection. And then Mars has this energy of whatever your desire is, now it's time to make it active. Get active. So these two energies foster lots of creativity. I can't talk. Lots of creativity, shared idealistic goals, risks, take a risk, do something that you think has unrealistic expectations. And these energies kind of balance each other. So in terms of romance, these energies make intense attraction, sorry. Attraction and romance and strong psychic connection that's magical and perfect, and creative spiritual synergy. And this is a time where we can dream together and be a catalyst for each other's artistic, spiritual aspirations. So, there were so many things in putting this together that were just coming from all places. Like, I thought I was going to be speaking in March, but I didn't know it yet. And then Susan approached me and said, hey, we've got some room for you to speak here. And so I started receiving songs and things that were, I thought, very wise. And I thought I was going to surprise Penny and have everything all laid out. And then the date changed, and it's just been like that. So I actually have a lot, and I may have to do some of it some other day. But anyway, so I looked at the stars and the configurations, and then I thought, well, maybe what I'll do is consult the Bible and see what's happening in the Bible around now. So the first thing I did is go back a little bit in time, and the Torah portion that is read something like 2 weeks ago was talking about the Exodus, when the Israelites were finally leaving Egypt. And they were running for their lives. And they got to the Red Sea, and they realized that the Egyptians had changed their mind and were chasing them. And that's when the Red Sea parted, and the Israelites were able to cross safely. And the Egyptians, unfortunately, were swallowed by the Red Sea. So look at this duality of this amazing joy and ecstasy of being released from slavery, and then watching a lot of people be killed in the sea. And so when they got to the other side of the sea, they had this major duality of sadness for the Egyptians and happiness for their freedom. So they started singing, and they sang a song that is called Song of the Sea. And it was mixed with that joy and that sorrow. And what happened is the sky filled with birds who came to sing with them. And it turned into a very beautiful, beautiful moment. So at this time of the year, there is a holiday, and it's called Tu B'Shvat. And it's a holiday that's, the Torah portion before this, when the birds were singing, what the custom is to go outside and feed the birds. And so put together a pine cone and put some peanut butter on it and roll it around in seeds. And isn't that an interesting thing that Marcia was talking about, this place where between the winter and the spring called Imbolc? And these are customs people have done for centuries. So then I looked at the next Torah portion would be for today, and that Torah portion was all about Moses. And he was approached, they had been traveling in the desert for 40 years, and Moses was getting kind of tired. And his father-in-law, Jethro, his father-in-law approached him and he said, you got to fill it up to give it up, Moses. You got to learn how to delegate, how to accept help when you need for it, how to ask for help when you need for it. So instead of advising every one of all these people personally, I recommend that you form a council, and the council can help you and do these things. And then at this time, I lost my train of thought a second. So he's telling him to ask and accept help, and that is at the point in time where Moses went up Mount Sinai and he received the 10 Commandments. So, in the spirit of levity, here's a little story. Once upon a time, there was a vicar, and he ran into his friend the priest, and he said to the priest, "Someone took my bicycle." Can you imagine the nerve of stealing the bicycle of a vicar? Who would do such a thing? I'm so upset. What do you think I should do? So the priest said, "I think what you should do is next time you give a sermon, fill it with hell and brimstone and frighten whoever stole your bicycle to give it back." So the next Sunday, the vicar gave his talk, and he talked all about the 10 Commandments, and he was going through them, and he was, focusing on thou shalt not steal. But then he got to the commandment that says, thou shalt not commit adultery. So next time the priest saw the vicar, he was riding his bike, his favorite cherished bike. And so he said, "Wow, you must have taken my advice and given a fiery speech." And the vicar said, "Yes, I did. But when I got to the part about thou shalt not commit adultery, I suddenly remembered where my bike was." Okay, so the next transmission that came through, I want to return back to Moses and his father-in-law. And the father-in-law was saying, you really got to take care of you. You got to have good self-care. You got to eat right, you got to get exercise, you got to play, you got to laugh, you got to really take care of you, or you're not going to be any good to the big mass of people that you have following you. So, I just lost it again. Anyway, then another holiday comes along, and it's called Tu B'Shvat. And in the spirit of Bill Blanning, I'm going to read a little passage of one of my favorite things. When Bill talks, he likes to share things he's read that he finds to be very interesting. So let's pretend that it's Tu B'Shvat. And in ancient Jewish tradition, we do this holiday that's the new year for the trees. At first glance, it might not make sense. Why celebrate growth now in the heart of winter? The branches are bare. The ground is cold, usually. There is no visible sign of life, and yet this is precisely the point. Ancient wisdom teaches that today, beneath the surface, something begins to move. The sap starts to rise, not above ground, not where the eye can see, but in the roots. The tree does not wait for the warmth of spring to begin growing. And if you go outside right now, you'll see the trees are budding, little bushes are already blooming. The tree does not wait for the warmth, and it begins its most important work in silence, long before a single leaf appears. And this is why the human being is compared to a tree of the field, not because of the fruit, but because of what happens underground. A tree does not live from its fruit. Life comes from the roots. The depth of the roots determines everything. There are seasons in life where you might feel unseen, when prayers feel unanswered, when effort seems to return nothing. But if you are there now, this day is speaking directly to you. Stop measuring yourself by your branches and start looking at your roots. Real growth is built when no one is watching. Your roots are your faith, your values, your endurance. They are silent choices you make, and times that you kept going without any certainty. The inner work done when the world saw nothing. The tree does not panic when another tree blooms first. It knows its own rhythm, its own timing, its connection to the source that feels it. You are connected to that source, God. Your life is a precise unfolding of something planted within you. Every quiet act of kindness, every choice of trust over despair strengthens your roots, and it prepares you to hold a future that you cannot yet imagine. Tu B'Shvat is a reminder that the deepest transformations happen where the eye cannot see. It feels like you might be alone under the surface. When the earth above feels heavy and the sky distant, God is there. Not loud, not rushed. He waters you in silence, drop by drop. And then, without a voice that the ear can hear, but with a voice the soul recognizes, he whispers, "My child, I am here. Grow, my child. Trust me. Do not fear. The darkness works for you. I am watering you now for the tree that you do not yet know you are. Grow, my child. Your God is here. I will never leave you. You are a part of me." So, I was trying to think of ways that I could avoid sinking into despair over certain things that are happening. And so I started looking for good news, looking for encouragement. And I saw this little story that says in Kazakhstan, they received 150 of the world's last wild horses. They came from Hungary to restore a species that went extinct in nature. And the ancient breed is finally returning to their ancestral homeland. Amen on that. So, we went through this, okay. And we went through this, okay. And so then I was thinking, what else is going on around us? Well, you know that duality of joy and sorrow simultaneously? I'm sorry to say that in football, this just happened in the Broncos. We won this fabulous game. We had this fabulous season, and then what happens? Bo Nix is injured. So right at the moment of great happiness, we went, oh, Bo. Oh, Bo. I had this happen in my life on the day when my son's dog Taylor was dying. And right at that moment of deep sadness, saying goodbye to her, my older granddaughter, Saraya, handed me her baby, my great-grandson, to hold him for the very, very first time. It was quite amazing. And so now let's go to Puerto Rico for a minute. Puerto Rico has this terrible disaster, hurricane, destruction, and even though they are part of our country, they did not receive relief, and they did not receive compassion, and they received a visit where someone threw paper towels to them. So here's this guy, Bad Bunny, and he says, you know, my people, they're very important, and they should be treated well. And if they're not going to receive their due respect, then I think I'll do something about it. So he's a very popular musician, And when he goes somewhere, he hires the local people and he shares his great wealth with all the people. So he did a 10-day residence and filled up the hotels. That helped their economy. He hired the locals. That helped their economy. And he did so much in billions and millions of dollars to help the Puerto Rican people and take pride in his roots. And his big message is, love yourself, appreciate your heritage, and love each other. And here he is going to play at the Super Bowl today. Yeah. So that's a way that one person who grew up in poverty is doing something really large to help the world and bring about good feelings and share love. So that brings me to, when did the last time this happened where people were demonstrating and protesting? Well, it happened in 1966 around the Vietnam War with the hippies. So did the hippies go around with machetes and guns trying to kill people that disagreed with them? Why, no, they didn't. They created art, light, flowers, songs of peace. And they really made this a better world. So that gave me the reminder that we can do things out of love, or we can do things out of fear or anger, or some of those vibrations that bring your frequencies down. So a good thing to do when you're trying to decide, shall I do this, say this, go here, do that, is ask yourself, if you put the words, I'm afraid that, like I'm afraid we're going to crash, I'm afraid we're going to do this, that means you're acting from a place of fear. But if you do things because I love my fellow man, because I love our planet, because I love having my family be safe, that's a place where you can create more fully. And deliver gratitude and talk to people that you disagree with and say, what can I learn from this difficult situation? What can I teach from this experience that I've been going through? Every set of challenges comes with blessings, knowledge, and compassion. And the other reminder for me is to ask the angels to step in, ask for divine intervention and divine guidance, and do whatever you do from a place of kindness. So, I think that is it for the moment, but I have a little bit more after our interlude.